Okay, very good. Thank you. We are in fact live from Chappaqua, here, Planning Board meeting on Tuesday, December 5. Just a couple quick announcements. We had a lengthy agenda, but some of these items have been pulled. So if you're here for Tavo Development, Chappaqua Crossing, 91 Bedford Road, Lamini, we are not going to hear those this evening. So if you're here for those, by all means, stay for all the other action-packed moments. But if you're here for those items, we're not going to hear those tonight for a variety of reasons, most of which pulling by the applicants. So, and going down through the agenda, our first item here is a public hearing. And this is the public hearing for the Schwartz application, Whippoorwill Woods subdivision, Lot 14, an application for a subdivision amendment and site plan amendment approval, 36 Carolyn Place. Sorry, breathing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Yes. Okay.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jennifer. Coffee may kick in.
Hello, Dan Sherman with Jonathan Schwartz for 36 Carolyn Place. And as you said, we're here to amend the scenic easement line. And the only change from the last meeting is that because the air conditioner was half into that easement line, we added that to the survey, and we've had the surveyor describe that intrusion of a few square feet. And
Right,
then
we
the
have the
other part was the corner
interpretation
of
from
the
the
deck.
the building department that is in fact the structure is subject to
Yeah.
regulation, yep.
Yeah, Bob sent over the actual wording,
Yep.
and it clearly is a structure.
Yep.
So we had the surveyor mark that on the enlarged survey, and I have all the same exhibits on this flash drive, and we enlarged this if it's of any interest, but that's the survey that shows the two pieces,
Yep.
the triangular deck and the little air conditioner piece. Otherwise, it's the same as before. So,
Okay, very good. Sabrina, any comments? I know you have a memo on this, basically saying that no issues at this point.
No issues at this point?
Right, and Jennifer, I think you've prepared this. We're moving in a direction so that I think we're being as streamlined as possible in terms of how we would have to go to how the applicant would have to go to the town board for approval. This is something that we can conditionally approve, but it's still subject to the town board's approval.
Yep, and it's my understanding, in speaking with the town administrator, that the town board did discuss this at one of their recent meetings, and they had no issues with it. As long as the planning board is comfortable with the proposal, then they are comfortable with amending the easement.
Okay, we have a letter of support that we received from a neighbor, and I had it here somewhere. Did someone else have it? Just for the record, to make sure that we, I saw it a moment ago.
It was an email, right?
Well, yeah. I just had it. Here we are. So it's a memo from Dan Reiterband in support of the application. And we have that in the record. Any comments from board members?
No.
Are there any comments from the public on this application? Okay, not seeing any. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And where do we go from here? We have a resolution.
Yep, it's a type 2 action, so there's no secra required. And you do have a draft resolution before you, which, as you mentioned, does include a condition, among other conditions, for the amendment of the scenic
Right.
viewshed easement by the town board.
There's also authorization for me to sign this outside of a meeting, but that again is still subject to the prior town board approval.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay, just to make certain I don't come up here and sign something when I shouldn't be.
A quick question on page 3, line 45, where it talks about lighting specifications. Is that boilerplate, or, because I didn't recall any lighting discussed for this?
I believe that is just standard boilerplate language. If there's no,
So since we
if
have
there's
not
no
seen any lighting on these
proposed, we can
plans.
strike that if the board wants
Or
to.
just since?
Yep.
Line 45, page 3.
Actually, I had a comment. I'm not quite sure it's, it's not quite, I don't think it was addressed in the resolution. I know that the applicant has agreed to replace some of the trees. I think we have 2 trees that are coming down this application. I don't know if you have the plan, but one of the items would be to have some sort of deciduous tree planted between the wall and the expanded deck. Again, giving a higher level of assurance to both us and the town board that we're going to see no impact whatsoever for this slight incursion. It's not just, obviously, this incursion is the deck itself. The incursion is what, 49 square feet? Do you have the,
There's actually just one tree coming out right now, so we were adding two.
Yeah.
And it's pretty tight between the deck and the woods. It's like only 6 feet away. So I put them a little to the side.
okay,
I put maples to reforest the woods that are essentially there, but they're not right between the deck and the edge of the woods, because it's only between like me and you. And to put a new tree in there, I
Okay.
didn't think it would do well, but I put them a little off to the side.
okay. Does that seem to be fair?
Yeah, and the second tree was saved when we reduced the
Right.
size of the
Yes.
deck.
Yeah.
That's right, that's correct, okay. Thank you. And those are what kind of maples?
Sugar maples.
Okay,
So if those are shown adequately on the plan, then there's no reason to put any separate condition.
correct, yep. Okay, everyone satisfied with that?
This lighting issue, I don't know, is there
It,
something?
it may have been boilerplate, that it's a condition that goes into a lot of resolutions, and so there's,
So it's coming out, though, whatever.
it's coming out.
Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
we hadn't discussed lighting issues.
Right, right. Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Oh,
As
we-
amended.
We need to also note that Dick is not here tonight.
Correct,
vote
good
on
point.
this.
As amended, right?
So moved as amended?
All in, second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye? Okay, very good. Okay,
Our next step is we can apply to the building department to actually build the deck, right?
You have to satisfy the conditions.
Oh.
Yep.
And go to the town board and get them to act.
do you have a letter going to the town board? I saw some correspondence that you had set up going to the
Right,
town
and
board.
there's, the easement agreement has to be
Okay.
Yeah,
rewritten.
so I can help coordinate with the applicant getting before the town board.
Okay,
We can't build the deck.
not yet.
I knew we had to go.
Okay, we move now to our next item, and this is a referral from the ZBA. This is on the Campfire Club of America. This is the application before us for a wetland permit, steep slopes permit, tree removal permit, and stormwater pollution prevention plan approval, 230 Campfire Road. So we have a draft memo, which I thought was terrific. That was been drawn
The
up
whole
for us.
history of the project.
Yes,
In 4 easy pages.
So really, I guess it's kind of a discussion item for us and also for the applicant in connection with the sorts of things that we would like the ZBA to consider as they move forward with the application. My understanding is that it goes to the ZBA, this is the ping pong effect, goes to the ZBA, they take their action, then eventually it comes back to us for formal approval of the environmental permits that we have before us. But we can't approve those until they do their special use permit.
Well, until they complete SECR and act on the special permit. But you can review the environmental permits, you just shouldn't take action on the environmental permits until they complete their review.
Okay. Okay, very good. Well, we have, has the applicant seen the memo as well? Okay. Any questions, comments, problems, issues?
Really here for questions.
From us? Okay, very good. Okay, again, I thought it was a terrific memo. It really hit all the high points, I thought. Any comments, thoughts, questions on it?
It's very comprehensive.
Yeah, it was,
Very clear and
I don't think there's
comprehensive.
anything I could add to it.
It will be
The only thing was maybe-
uncharacteristic of a memo coming from us, therefore.
The only thing I was gonna ask Steve if he wants to do 10 years instead of 5 years, and that was it. But since we're out in the woods, maybe you don't need 10 years.
Yeah, well, and also since the club is really all about
Mm-hmm.
preservation,
Right,
I wonder
that's what I
about that sort of additional requirement in this particular case.
Probably okay.
Yeah, that was my thought, but, I had one little wordsmith, I think, recommendation. That 5 years was one of the items I wanted to mention, but on page 3, yeah, I think it would be interesting, let's see, it's the page 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth bullet. which is the second bullet under wetlands and tree removal. As such, the density of the plantings associated with the stormwater management system has been increased substantially. And I think we should really add per our recommendation, because the applicant has worked very carefully with Steve and with us to enhance those plantings. And since we're sending this off to the ZBA, I think we should give the applicant that credit of working with us and supporting us. Other than that, I was fine with it. Anyone else, anything?
I'm good.
Tom, Sheila?
No, thank you.
Okay. Obviously, you don't have any comments because you've done it. You don't have any comments because you did it, right? Exactly. I understand. I know. It's team effort.
We did it.
Yep. Yep. Well, well done.
Fine
Good
with
job.
it.
Really, terrific job. Anyway, is there a motion to approve the memo and to forward it on to the ZBA
Motion
As amended.
as amended?
amended?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Okay. We have no questions for him. Sorry to disappoint you.
Thank you.
Not a problem, okay. Okay, we move now to our next item. This is also a ZBA referral. This is a referral on the Sunshine Children's Hospital. This is an application for a special permit approval, 15 Spring Valley Road. That's before the ZBA at this point. And so we have a memo that I guess has come from the ZBA. And I see there's also one going to the Architectural Review Board. And, or do we not have a memo yet?
No, I think we just have
Yes,
this.
you have a memo from the zoning board to the planning board dated December 1st.
Yep, okay.
Referring the special permit amendment to you.
Okay,
And as you recall, you did actually already issue a memo to the zoning board dated October 17th, which gave your comments on the special permit.
Right.
So you may want to
Obviously, it's
simply
very impressive, so
reaffirm
they
your
had to write
October
us a memo.
17th memo.
Did they just cross in the mail?
No, it's just a procedural technicality, a formality that it needs
Yeah.
to be referred to you.
Because your environmental review changed the plans and they had to go back
Right.
before the zoning board. The zoning board's requirement is to review any changes back to the architectural review board and yourselves. So we're kind of playing tag with each other.
No, yeah, I understood that part of the process.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
so, I mean, we still have to receive the submission and go through the submission that's coming, I guess, right? My understanding
No.
is
No, the submission is what was,
what we commented on. Okay.
what you already commented
Okay.
on.
I guess the only comment we have this evening is we have obviously seen a lot of noise in connection with alleged operations at the site, and perhaps someone can give us just a little update on this and see where we are. Probably members of the public are interested in hearing what the town has found, if anything, at this point. So perhaps someone could fill us in. I don't know who that person might be. Maybe the applicant, maybe.
I'll step in, I guess.
Sure.
My understanding is that staff has been, was made aware of some site disturbance at the property recently. They have been conducting an investigation through the building department and other members of staff. They're still proceeding with that investigation. And when the results of that investigation are complete, if any actions are necessary at that time, then they will be taken. But at this point, that's what I'm
Under
aware
review.
of. That it's currently under review.
But it has nothing to do with us, right?
no.
At this point,
At this-
it's
We don't
under
know.
investigation. We're, determining whether any permits were necessary, whether it affects, any of the approvals that you issued. So it's, I think, inconclusive at this point, and as soon as we know anything further, that'll be communicated.
Maybe where Greg was going, but we're all going down the road, it turns out that it does have to do with improvements to the site which have been applied for to this board and approved by this board and now being done without the actual permits in hand. Do we have an appropriate response? What would our appropriate response be to that?
I think we'd have to take a look at that if and when it's determined that the permits are affected,
So taking a look at it, I mean, that's easy.
to determine what the appropriate mechanism would be.
What might those mechanisms be if we determine that something's been done in violation counter to? What is in our toolbox?
I'd rather not, as I sit here tonight, just kind of speculate without knowing the details of what it is that we're looking at. I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to speculate. Yeah, no,
Put it out there that I'm assuming there are things in our toolbox, depending on the conditions.
yes, yeah.
But I think it's fair to observe at this point that this board doesn't have enforcement issues, enforcement powers. But at the same token, from my perspective and seeing the information that's coming in, I think from the standpoint of just optics, I'm really kind of at a loss to understand when we're so close to having permits, why we have this kind of activity going on, and even causing the potential of a problem. So my word of advice to the applicant is it just is not giving good feelings to, I think, members of this board, as well as now perhaps the town board and ZBA. So when you have applications before these boards and you don't have your final permits, whether it is pushing the envelope or crossing the line or getting right up to the line, I from the standpoint of, if nothing else, optics, I would counsel you on perhaps taking a different strategy. So I can only speculate council's reaction to some of this stuff that's going on.
It is, and not wanting to prejudice the extent of what's going on, but to the extent that things may be going on that run counter to what I thought was working in good faith with this board and with the town, and I believe with the community. It really doesn't, in a way, it almost sort of, it just, as Bob just said, it just tarnishes, it feels like it tarnishes everybody in the process, and it's just, to my mind, it's inappropriate and unnecessary, and when we learn more about it, I guess we'll learn more about it, but I think it's a real problem.
Yeah, and the town is taking it seriously.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I'm sure the town is taking it very seriously. I mean, we've all seen correspondence, and
I can assure you.
yeah, yes,
So can Bob.
yes,
Our entire office can
Yep.
assure you.
all week.
yep, I understand. But anyway, I think at this point, so our memo has gone over to the ZBA, and at this point, is there anything else at this point?
I would
in terms of-
recommend, just for procedural sake, that you make a motion to readopt or reaffirm your October 17th memo.
Now that we received the
Now that
December
you've
1
received the
referral?
formal referral from the zoning board to take action on that referral.
Okay.
And do we have any action on this memo, the memo from the architectural, from the zoning board to the ARB? There's nothing for us to do on that. This is just an FYI.
Correct.
I
Okay,
believe so, yeah.
Just confirming.
Yeah, they, like you, were referred the application by the zoning board based on the changes that originated at this board.
Well, it's my understanding, one of the things that this board can do, when does the ZBA next meet on this?
December 20th,
December 20th?
20th.
And we meet next
Or the-
on,
The ARB is tomorrow, the ZBA is on the 20th.
so the ZBA is the 20th. We meet again on the 19th. I
Correct.
might suggest that we not take any action in terms of ratifying the memo, and perhaps until we have more information at our December 19th meeting, and might be in a better position knowing what has gone on or has not gone on. My understanding is we do have that ability to push back on that until we have that information. So it seems to me only, it's up to the board members, to be a little bit premature perhaps to ratify the note and to respond to the December 1 referral until we know exactly what's going on.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. So I guess the action to take tonight is no action, and again, raise the level of concern for the applicant to let the applicant know that, we take comment from the public very seriously, and we take our permit process very seriously, and pushing the lines and boundaries can be a problem. So I guess what we'll do is we can push this over then to the December 19th meeting and reconsider. By then, of course, the town will have more information, and we'll see what's up. Okay? Fair enough? Okay, very good. I'll take one question. That I know it, I, come on up.
It's just a procedural question.
Okay,
And the procedural question is
that's a
that-
fair question, actually. Good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. At that time, if,
Oh, yeah, identify yourself again.
sorry,
and
Dave
address.
Whitlinger, 207 Cedar Lane. Will there be public comment if, by chance, this proceeds forward? Will there be public comment at that meeting?
At this point, I would say not. There will not be public comment unless, for some reason, council advises for some reason that the permit process is reopened. I would consider that to be very unlikely. So by all means, come and watch, but I suspect there would not be public comment, substantive comment on the applications or the referrals from the ZBA.
And can I just point out that you're free to send any cards and letters that you wish to make whatever comments you would have made in public known to us.
Okay. There's substantive things that have transpired since you guys have closed on this matter, so we think
Okay.
that it's warrants for the public to have opportunity to comment and bring that information to your attention.
If you put it down and send it to us, I think there's already been a pretty thorough documentation, but there may be more.
There is.
I think that'd be fine for us to receive, and it depends on where we are in the process. It'll be up to the chairman and
Right, I mean-
council to decide about the public.
Right, I mean, right now, the
Comment.
only thing, there are no applications before you from Sunshine.
Right.
The only thing that's before you right now is the referral from the zoning board. Your
Yep.
application has, the applications before you have concluded. But of course, we'll take anything that the public submits into consideration.
Yep, very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, we have a procedural item, and that is a request for an approval extension on Citron. This is formerly the Manic subdivision, lot number 1. This is an application for a preliminary subdivision plat and final subdivision plat approval, lot merger. It's a steep slope permit, wetlands permits, tree removal permit, and stormwater pollution plan approval. This is at 123 and 127 Westwood Drive.
The extension is just for the subdivision plats.
Okay,
It's a 90-day extension.
okay,
Which
So
is,
we don't have to
was
extend the
set
others.
to expire December 23rd. So
Okay.
that would make sense.
In my understanding, no one has any objection to this, right?
No objection.
Can I just clarify? So there's also in the request for an extension form, there's also listed August 20th, 2017 for the IPP to be submitted to the town engineer. Was that submitted? And if
That again? I'm
the
sorry.
IPP,
I haven't received anything from the applicant.
so
We should
I
extend
would
that as
recommend
well.
that that be extended to be concurrent with the 90-day extension
Yeah,
for
they
the
have a whole laundry
subdivision.
list of items in a resolution as conditions I
Yeah.
haven't received. I met
Fine.
and discussed it with Dave Sessions, but they haven't submitted anything to date.
They're working on it.
Okay. So it makes good sense then to have
Do it
that dual
concurrently, yeah.
extension. Okay,
Can we bring them into concurrence with each other?
That's, yeah,
great.
I think that makes it a lot easier for everybody.
Okay. So is there a motion to grant the extension as amended, as we discussed here, for an additional 90 days so that they are concurrent?
Motion?
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have some minutes. Before we tackle the minutes, 91 Bedford was taken off, but one of the things that we have been talking about is sensitivity toward transition zones, and I was going to put together, I didn't have time, some bullets. I think we should have a discussion on transition zones. Maybe we should schedule it, I don't know what our schedule looks like for the next meeting.
You
But
are
perhaps-
booked.
We're booked? Okay.
Booked.
Copy there,
Yeah, I see it. Well, it's the first time I've seen it, so.
and you just added,
Sunshine.
It's pretty full. So maybe in January. But in any event, I think this is an issue that we should really start to tackle and perhaps send information to the town board for some legislative work. I think we're going to see more of this as the town starts to develop, and we're seeing it now. And we're seeing some of the issues that I think are sensitive that we're hearing back from people in the residential areas as well as the commercial areas. So I think it would be smarter to try to do it up front rather than as the tail wags after the fact. So I think we've hit a number of these issues, but I just think it's really important. But anyway.
Mr. Chairman, if I can add, part of an action item under the comprehensive plan is to workshop these transition zones. So if the board has specific elements it wants considered in legislation, I think that that's very important, but also to bring it to the attention of the town board as being a priority so that we can address this sooner rather than later. As you know, the town board had desired to prioritize the action items in the comprehensive plan, which is a little bit different than the way they've done it in the past and the way other comprehensive plans are done. This board, I know, was very in favor of doing a prioritization of actions as part of its adoption. That did not happen. So any support that this board can give towards those actions that are more relevant to the work that you do, I think would hold some weight with the direction that the town board is going in.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah, and so I think in that this may not be, there's no evidence yet that this is high up on the list of whether published or not, the priority stream that they may be looking at. Maybe someday they'll publicize that. It seems to me that this is one of those things that we could have a lot to say about. And if it is high up on our list of things to do, that maybe rather than just teeing it up and saying to the town board, you guys ought to be looking at this now, maybe we ought to just look at it now and do our own workshopping on this and put a proposal in front of them that has some real meat to it for them. I mean, we could do a lot of the work for them, and that would hopefully motivate them to once they have something in hand to actually maybe put this on their list of things to look at.
Yeah.
And in that light, this is as Sabrina well knows, this is a content-rich and I'm sure that Jennifer also on the zoning side, this is a content-rich subject. There are a lot of nuances and potentially a lot of complications to it. There's also a large body of professional practice in this, and theory in this, and standards on this particular subject. And I think that if we try and do this in the context of our regular meetings, it may not get the concentrate, because I think it's going to take some concentrated attention. Perhaps maybe we could schedule 1 or 2 working sessions the way we did with the master plan.
Right.
And find a way to sort of get it moving and keep it moving quickly.
Absolutely, and I can tell you that myself and my office would very much be in support of providing some mapping, some detailing, so that we could talk about real properties and real areas and definitions of what have been defined as hamlet areas versus not hamlet areas. Let's look at the zoning in those areas and really workshop it. And I think it would be helpful to have some support from the town board to have this board do that with my office, and we could definitely, I agree, it's not something to tack on to a planning board meeting. It's really a workshop specifically regarding those areas, and we could get a lot accomplished with some dedicated time.
Yep.
Where we could all work it together, so to speak.
But at the same token, I agree with your comments, Sabrina. I think we can do this and should do it, and I think workshopping it makes great sense. But at the same time, I would like to signal to the town board that we are
Yes.
doing this and that we think that this is a priority, and we would like them to join us and support us.
I think that
and-
is of utmost
and
importance.
be aware that we're doing this so that they're not, surprised when something hits them. And
I agree.
Exactly, and I can tell you that, when it comes to their prioritization, my office is also that support for their prioritization. So all of these things are critically important, particularly with some of the things that you're dealing with, and I foresee you dealing with from a planning perspective with applications. So I think sending that message as a board to the town board is critical.
yep, okay, good.
Do we do that as a letter, email, or just talk to the board?
I think you should document something by your board, a resolution or some sort of memo to them saying that this is a priority for you. You'd like to be involved in a workshop, in workshopping it, starting with a certain date or month or time, or something to give them a signal that you're serious about this, so that I can be freed up, if you will, and my office can be freed up to support you in this endeavor.
Good sense. I think that's great. And what we could do is, as we start to look, I think, did everyone get a schedule for next year?
I don't think I've
We're
seen a
working on
planning
it.
schedule yet.
I got it.
Did
You're
you
a
do it?
special guy.
But
You got it because we were deciding it.
Because you guys changed the dates on me anyway, so you don't want me to show up at the right date. So it's not finalized yet?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I thought it was. Okay. You're
We
finalized.
would have it on January 2nd, I remember.
Correct.
that.
No,
Everything until the 16th, I think.
Yeah. But usually we have 2 meetings a month, and what we could try to do is, again, maybe starting in February, is dedicate one of those meetings to this, and we can pick up some other things that fall that way, minutes and some administrative things. But,
Or, if I could, since we don't have a meeting the first week of January, could we
It will
get a
take
workshop then for us?
Yeah, ideally, I'd like to do some preparatory work to get you some resources to talk to.
and one of the problems with that first week of January was it's organizational for the town board, and it's a matter of space, finding a place for us
Yeah.
for a meeting. So Janice does great work in trying to find us and make sure we have space for the nights that we have scheduled, because we get pushed around with Election Day and Grievance Day and
I really like the
Valentine's Day
idea, I really like the idea of one meeting a month to workshop this if, there's support for it.
Yep.
And then one meeting for your normal business, and that way we can at least get a reading as to how long it will take after the first chunk of discussion.
Okay.
First meeting of discussion.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, but I would,
Sounds unpleasant, doesn't it?
I would like to provide you with mapping and kind of area delineation and things from the comprehensive plan and what we live with every day based on zoning, so
Right.
that you can have an informed discussion.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have that sort of local context to our town, because if you don't, then it becomes an abstract discussion in theory about
Right, and
how
we're
these
looking
things
for
are done.
real things at this point. And, right now, the town board is discussing, the future of Millwood. They are continually, depending on whether or not the town is awarded grant monies to discuss the future redevelopment of town-held properties in Chappaqua. Those are all things that you may all want to directly contribute to and should be aware of. And to have a forum within which I can update you regarding those activities and what the town board is doing, I think is important as well.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have a February 20th meeting, I believe, and probably we have stuff already backed up for February 6th, but perhaps we can start to pencil in February 20th as the first of the meetings, workshop meetings,
Thank you,
if you will.
Janice.
Thanks, Janice. And, take a look at it. I have it. I have it electronically. I have no life, so I want to make sure I have everything lined up in my no life.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Me too.
Just as something we can start to pencil in and direct and look toward. And, the only problem with that is, and that might be a very good one, because we might not have that much business, because it's usually President's Week, and perhaps we don't, there are not a lot of people here, so we can really get to work, and people won't miss us having a regular meeting. So, anyway. Okay, we do have some minutes. We have the minutes of October 17, 2017.
If I may, do you want me to work on a memo for you to review to the town board regarding this topic?
Sure, absolutely.
So can you resolve yourselves to direct me to do so?
I motion that Sabrina writes a memo for us to the town board indicating that we would like to start the process of working on transition zones going forward in the town.
That's so many more words than we usually make a
It is, it's
resolution
a-
with.
very
Very-
Does that work?
that's it, yes.
I'll work on it.
Clearly a man who's
Maybe- has
unused to
to be
getting direction at
seconded.
home. Is there a
Second, oh,
Aye.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, on to the minutes. October 17. Anyone on page 1, any changes?
I have no changes.
2? I had a couple of changes on page 3.
Yeah, I got some stuff on 3 too.
I'm at line 33. What line would you like to start with?
I'm on 14.
Okay, you're first.
In between the word "the" and neighborhoods, can we write nursing home? I think it will clarify that we're not speaking about the neighbors, but we're speaking about the neighborhoods
Yep.
of the facility.
Yep, good point.
And then on that same line, can we change would to could at the
Mhm.
end of the line? And then on line 15, let's take away very,
Take away what?
very, strike very. And then on line 19, let's put a comma after the word applicant,
Okay.
and then I'm done.
I had line 33. I would insert, as I recall, which was the owner or manager of the facility. So insert the and also or manager. And after on line 35, a comma after limited to, after the word to, comma. Nothing else on that page. Anyone else on page 4? Anyone? Page 5, line 55, I would just reverse the order of not to not. Anyone else on 5? Anyone else on 6? Seven? I had line 47, I think that is, undo would be UNDO on line 47. Anyone else, anything?
That's so weird. My
That's-
brain was thinking of that.
Just say it's spell check. wasn't
Oh, it
you,
is,
was spell
yeah,
check.
exactly. On page 8, line 39, I think instead of advised, it would be better to say the word asked the applicant. Anyone else? Page 8, page 9? 10? Okay. 11? Okay, 12?
Well, I want to go back to page 11.
Sure.
I wasn't sure about this, maybe you guys. Lines 28 through 31, when we were talking about egressing out of the basement, it says here that there's no door, none of the basements are going to open to grade, but I thought when we were talking with them, they were talking about all the grades, and they said that some of them are going to open to grade.
I think they did. I think
They
you're
I just
correct.
don't recall.
I
They
think you're
did.
correct, Greg.
They did.
I think they said, they made the statement that none will be open. They talked about the grades, and then I don't recall them saying some will be accessible, but they definitively said that they are regrading to allow windows in the basements.
Right. So I just don't recall if there was sliding glass doors are going to show up or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know.
I guess they say, right? So, yeah, I just don't recall.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we just leave it for now.
I think we should leave it. We're expecting more.
A
They're
very
coming
detailed
back, I'm
matrix, right?
assuming.
Well, I'm surprised we haven't heard anything yet.
Wow. Is that why they pulled from the, weren't they on for tonight initially?
No,
Can
they
you take
weren't.
out
The
paragraph so it
lifetime
doesn't go on
was.
the record like
Oh,
it's being
okay.
accepted?
Okay.
But I think actually we'd be okay with that.
But it would be all right?
Yeah.
If they think it's accurate, then it is.
I just didn't recall,
Do you want to take it out so it doesn't look like you're accepting it as?
I don't remember them saying that there were going to be doors leading from the basement
No.
to grade outside. I remember them saying that they were going to have like windows in order to get light into the basement.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
what I
gonna use that
remember
as
too.
Yeah.
egress to get out.
Fire
Well,
egress.
well,
Well, the
and
whole
honestly,
issue-
folks, we shouldn't really talk about it in detail because they're not before us, but that was an issue that this board raised, was the basements and how it's affecting the grades on the site and the walls and
Right.
the
They raised
entire
everything.
buildup
Yeah,
of
the
the
whole
site.
issue of basements,
That's what's driving.
exactly. It was always slab before this.
Correct, and it
So this was
was
all
keeping
new.
with the existing
Right.
grades as much as possible and, you know,
So
I don't want to put anything in there
But if
that,
we strike the phrase that says, but no doors leading to the outside, and we just leave it at to have egress through the windows as required by code, then that just,
Let's
We
not-
just haven't commented on it in this minutes.
I remember that they said that there are going to be no doors. I think the record is right here.
yeah.
That's what I
Well,
thought.
and Janice
believe you're
takes the
right.
record from the minutes, from the, from
Tape
her
and-
minutes, from the tape.
But even if they did say that, but it turns out not to be true, that doesn't mean that in the next
Doesn't mean
meeting,
that you
it comes,
have to say
it comes
that there's
out
no
that, oh, now they are demonstrating some
Right,
doors.
right.
and
I don't know
access.
about you, but I'm expecting a complete redesign.
I think we're going to see a lot more on this, on the topography and everything.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much clearer
I
you
just don't know
folks
when we're
could
going to
have
see it.
been. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, page 13. Page 14. I did have something on this. Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
I have something on line 37, where it says, Mr. Curley noted that retail component site was completed first because it was an investment to bring. I actually don't know that for a fact. I just assumed that to be true. So I would put in Mr. Curley assumed that noted that,
He assumed.
said he assumed, or noted that he assumed. And I wasn't challenged on that. Matter of fact, Felix was nodding his head in the back.
Yes,
but-
he was. Mhm.
But I don't know it for a fact, so.
In line 28, I would change the word from was counter to would run counter to what? Design, I was going to say. Design, okay. Would run counter to what? The designing, what did I write here?
It's a page.
Oh, I see. He stated that designing the East Village be a driver. Wow. You have to make me sound more articulate, Janice. I know it's difficult.
It's hopeless.
It's hopeless. Anyway,
You could say car-oriented.
yeah, designing East Village
as a car-oriented development was
Yeah.
counter to what
would run counter.
to.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So say that again.
He stated that having the East Village be designed as a car-based development would run counter
Yep.
to what the planning board had intended.
Yeah, I would say automobile-based. Yeah, that's better. Wow. Okay. 15, anyone? Line 13, I would just, instead of saying had, I would say may have not been adhered to.
Is that 15? I'm sorry?
Line 13 on page 15.
Okay.
Where is it?
Instead of the word had, just may have not been adhered to.
That's in construction, May? Where are, which hat are you
Yeah,
changing?
for construction, may have not been adhered to.
Changing that?
Okay, line 16, I'm not sure where it came from anyway, but line 33, we have the community playground requirement. Is it really a requirement, or is this like a new desired change, or
It's not. It
Concept.
was a requirement, as you guys conditioned in the finding statement.
this second playground?
This second, well, it's not a second playground.
The first one we had by the cupola building.
Right, and during this application review, you require that that playground and its location be revisited in relation to
fine.
this. And we're striking the 8,000
Yeah,
square
we're
foot.
right.
That does, we're not sure of the source of that.
That's been,
Line is that?
It is line 56.
that number's been subject
Page 50.
Yes.
some back chatter in the community. so-
Yes, so we're gonna say
I didn't know
interested
where it
in
came from.
relocating the playground,
Right,
take out the size.
Good, okay.
good.
And then on 16, did you want to change anything?
No,
Bob?
16 is fine then. 17, anyone? 18? Is there a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
As amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.